Okay, so now we are ready to work Roger's pick. And these are his colors that he picked out. We've got this kind of fawny brown, this pink, and this really beautiful burgundy Merlot color. So let's see what it is that he's picked for us to make. Here it is, this gorgeous shawl. Now, as you guys know, if you watched my video where I reviewed this book, I have an obsession with just about every shawl in this book. I intend to make every shawl, so this is first of many. And because it's a rather large shawl, and I have a lot of videos I want to make and some more mystery videos I want to make, I'm just going to make a sample size, but you'll be able to make the whole thing yourself because I'm going to show you it's basically a simple center with a rather elaborate border. Like the main event of this shawl is going to be that beautiful, stunning border. So I'm just going to do a sample, a small center with the large elaborate border going around. And you may like it like that, like as a doily, you may like it. But it's just because for me, it's a time thing. I have a lot of videos that I want to make and some more mystery videos that I want to make. So in order to cut back on time to give me more room to film, I am just going to do a sample this time, much like I do whenever I show how to make blankets. So let's get right into this. We're going to need a lace weight, #1 lace weight yarn, and a 3.5 millimeter hook. Okay, so it says to start, make a chain as long as desired for the shawl. Again, I'm making a sample, so I'm just going to start with 25, and whenever you look at it, it is quite small in the center. So again, this shawl is all about that gorgeous border. So I'm going to start with 25 chains. I'm going to add 7 because it says to work 1 double crochet into the 7th chain. So because I want to keep it 25 stitches wide, I'm going to go ahead and add 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yes. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in the 7th, I realize that gives me 25 or 26 across now. So we're working basically filet crochet. Let's see, does it want us to chain 1 or chain 2? 1 chain. So we're going to chain 1, skip the next chain, and in the next one over. And of course, I'm working in the back bumps. We work our double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, next chain over, work a double crochet. This is the repeat all the way to the end. Chain 1, skip 1, work 1. 1, of course, being a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, work 1. I will be right back. Okay, so I got lucky again and wound up with no extra chains that have to be unraveled. But if you do happen to have any extra chains, because it does say to simply chain the length you need, it doesn't really give, there's no math involved with that. All you'd need to do is undo your last knot here on the bottom and just pull the string out and tug on it once, and that'll get rid of 1 or 2 or however. You'll have to keep doing it for however many extra stitches you have. And that's all you have to do, and it looks fine. Okay, now we work a chain 4. That's going to count as our first double crochet plus chain 1. And this is the 1 row repeat for the entire body of the shawl. Just like this. You're going to work your double. I was just talking and not even explaining. Chain 4, skip over the chain 1 space and into the top of your first double crochet here, work a double crochet plus chain 1. Skip the space and work a double crochet over the top of the next double crochet over plus chain 1. Skip the space and repeat. You're always going to work into the tops of the double crochet from the previous row, and you're going to follow it with a chain 1. So we're just creating little squares over and over and over again, and it's going to start every new row with a chain 4 that counts as your double crochet plus chain 1. Just keep working it over and over again until it appears you have a perfect square. Then come on back. When you get to the end of the row, like I have here, you will chain 1, skip the next chain. Right here it looks like a little knot, but that's my next chain, and then in the next one over, that's where you're going to work your double crochet, just like that. Then you will chain 4, 2, 3, 4. Again, that's your double crochet plus chain 1. Skip over all of this and into the first double crochet over, work your double crochet plus chain 1. Again, skip the space, work your double crochet plus chain 1. Over and over. Very, very easy. The fun part comes when we get to that gorgeous border. There we go. Okay, now I have what appears to me to be a perfect square. And so now it says that we are to chain 4 and turn, and we're going to work one more round this time of filet crochet. So like we did before, we're going to skip the space and work 1 double crochet into the top of every double crochet, followed by a chain 1. But when we get to the corners, we're going to work a V-stitch. So let me just get us to the corner really quick. Okay, now we are at the corner. I've chained 1. So again, like we did before, we're going to skip our first chain and then the second chain over, work 1 double crochet, chain 3, and into the same chain, work another double crochet, chain 1, turn, not like turn this way, but now working down this side and into the side stitch right here, right where this join is, treat it like a double crochet, just like that. Chain 1, skip, work a double crochet, chain 1, skip, work a double crochet. Let's get ourselves over to the other corner real quick. Okay, now we're at the other corner right here, and we're just going to repeat. I already have my chain 1, and we're just going to repeat what we did before. A double crochet, chain 3, and a double crochet into the same stitch. Chain 1. Now we're ready to work along this side. So repeat this all the way around. There we go. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've worked myself all the way around. Let's close this round up. I'm going to chain 1, and right here is our starting chain 4 plus, or our starting chain 4, so the double crochet plus chain 1. So right at the base of that, let's work a double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now you can work this all in one color. At this point, I'm going to change colors. So here's how I'm going to do that. In the third chain of your starting chain 4, go ahead and slip stitch. That's where I'm going to change color. I'm going to complete my slip stitch with the new color. There we go. Now chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and in the next double crochet over, work a double crochet. Repeat that one more time. And in this chain space right next to the double crochet, work 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, all into the same stitch or the same space. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, pull your stitches aside a little bit to access the top of that first double crochet and work a double crochet right there. Chain 1, work a double crochet in the next double crochet over, chain 1 and repeat that in the next one over. So because in our working a perfect square, unless you worked it out perfectly that you have the same number of spaces on the top and the bottom that you do on the side, I do not. And that is because double crochet is taller than it is wider. So to mathematically, with inches, create a perfect square, we're going to have more rows, or no, we're going to have more stitches going left and right than we are going to have rows going up and down. I happen to have 13 spaces on my top and bottom, but 12 spaces, or I'm sorry, 10 spaces on the sides. So it doesn't really tell you how to account for this in the book, but what I am doing on the top and bottom is adding just an extra fillet stitch, just like this. So we have 1 coming off the side of our fan stitch here, 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochet. Now into the very next space, we have to chain 1 first, of course, and we work our, I called it fan stitch, I meant to say shell. Work our shell stitch of 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet all into the same space. 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, and into that very first double crochet, work a double, chain 1, work a double crochet, chain 1, work a double crochet, and into this space here, yes, into this next space here, we work another shell. Sorry, we have to chain 1 first. So sorry. I'm learning this pattern the exact same time you are. So I have to figure it out and then try to describe it for the first time ever. So sometimes it can be only slightly mentally overwhelming to remember everything, but I have to. Okay, there we go. Now, if you would quit creeping up on me like that. Oh, of course. Behave. Okay, chain 1 and into the very next double crochet, like touching the shell, we work a double crochet. Chain 1, work a double. So now we have 3 spaces made, not counting the shell. 1, 2, 3. We're going to make 1 more just to make up the difference because our top and bottom of the square has so many more stitches. So there we go, work 1 more space. So now if you cover up the shell, we have 4 spaces. Now into the very next space over, we work our shell again of 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet. How do I even do that to myself? I don't know. Okay, there is 3. Chain 1 and work a double crochet right there. Chain 1, work a double. Chain 1 and work a double into the double crochet of our V-stitch. Chain 1 and work a shell right here, but instead of working a chain 2, we're going to work a chain 3 between the 2 groups of double crochet. So 3 doubles, a chain 3, and 3 doubles. Chain 1 and into the very first double crochet right here, work a double. So I'm trying to work out the best way to evenly space our shells out. I'm just using groups of 3 double crochet to represent a shell, because it's really quite subjective, right? The pattern doesn't know that I chose to start off with 25 stitches. The pattern also doesn't know that you may choose to start off with 217 or 185. And they don't have a set number of they haven't worked it out exactly how many stitches, how many chains does it take to make a square the size needed to get it to look like the drawing, because this is just a drawing, you know? So it's kind of a little bit frustrating trying to figure out how to make this work, not only for my 25 stitches, but for your 185 stitches or your 217 stitches. So the best thing I can tell you is, here is the photo. Here is the drawing or engraving. This is how you can pause the screen. The pattern doesn't tell you. It doesn't, you really have to figure all this out on your own for the most part with these older patterns, because again, start with a chain sufficient for the length that you need. Now, how does the math for everybody, I mean, they don't start off with a set number of this pattern starts with 220 stitches, because we worked it out that with 220 stitches in a perfect square, you can perfectly space these apart by X amount of stitches. There's no way to know that. So I'm trying to work this out. So the best I can come up with for my 25 stitches, I don't know how it's going to work out though for your 182 stitches or 238 stitches that you start off with. You know, chains, I'm trying to say, sorry. I made my corner, chained 1, and worked into the very first double crochet, chained 1, worked into the next double crochet, chain 1, and work into the next one over. Now in chain 1, and then into the next space, I'm going to work my shell. I think that we only have to put up with this on the first round of shells. After that, it's just a matter of, you know, following the leader. Just putting the shells where they were before. I think it does change up as we continue to fan out, much like with the pineapple stitch, we're going to add a new row of shells at some point. But I think the tricky part is to just figure out where we personally, based on the personal chain counts that we chose, how do we space these out to where they look all right. I don't think anybody's really going to notice. I don't think it's going to be that grave of a situation. Like, I don't think it has to be perfectly mathematically evenly spaced out. I think it's going to work itself out in the end, if I'm honest. But it does make it harder for me to teach you how to do this because I don't know what your chain count is. I know I started off with 25, added 7. This is how it's working out with that, with what Roger calls the Barbie dream shawl, because it's so small, you know. But it's not going to work out the same for you. So like what I showed you up here, I was thinking, this isn't going to work out the same for them because they didn't start off with 25 stitches, chains plus 7. They're going to start off with 200 or 230 or 190. So that's the best that I can tell you how to do this, is to just make it work. I know, I now sound like a vintage pattern, don't I? Make it work. But that truly is the only thing that you can do, is somehow try to make it as even as possible. I don't think it's going to be noticed unless, you know, they are massively spaced apart, the shells. But I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal if you started off with 3 double crochet over here, 1, 2, 3, but ended with 4 or ended with only 2. I don't think it's going to be that noticed. But that's what's going to have to happen. I can't explain it any other way. There really is no exact formula to this other than make it work the best you can. So now I have 3 double crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and if I work a shell here, then I'll have 1, 2, 3. I'll have to work another shell, so that means I need to make another double crochet. So now I have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll go ahead and make a shell here, a shell. 1, 2, 3. I'll still have 4, and I started off with 3. So you see, that's just the way it's going to have to be with this pattern. With a lot of these vintage patterns or antique patterns, that's just the way that they do. You know, start off with a chain sufficient for the length you need. That was easy with a scarf, not quite so much whenever you're working in a perfect square and you're working rounds around it and you're trying to space apart these shells. Not quite the same. 1, oops, there we go. 2 and 3, chain 1, work double crochet, and maybe even sometimes you can just skip that first double, but I think it might be needed for reasons. I'm just adding it because they say to. So now I have 1 double crochet, 2 doubles. I'm still ending with 4. So even what I did there didn't protect me from ending with 4. It is what it is. I didn't mean to say protect. I meant to say prevent. Sorry. So that's the best I can do. Now I work my corner. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3. This is Roger's fault. I'm just kidding. There we go. And then chain 1, and we try to figure it out all over again. So there's 1 double, 2 double, 3 double. If I put a shell, 1, 2, 3, 4, shell, 1, 2, 3, shell, or 4. How many shells do I have on this side? 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think I might try to just mirror what I did on this side, and then when I get to this side, I'm just going to mirror what I did on this side. So that's how I'm going to do this one. I don't know. We just have to do our best. So I'll be right back. I'm going to finish working all the way around, and hopefully after this first round of shells, where we've established our foundation shells, it'll be a lot easier to work from there. But I think that is, in my heart of hearts, I do think this is going to be the trickiest part, is just establishing our foundation round of shells, because the numbers aren't going to be the same for everybody. I'll be right back. So I worked it out. I actually reworked this one so that I could have 3 shells on each side, and the shells match up perfectly, and it's the same here. The shells all match up perfectly. So how we're going to end this, I worked my last double crochet here, so chain 1, and we work a corner of 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet, 2 and 3, chain 3, and then 3 doubles. One, 2, and 3. Now, let's tighten that up. Now let's see, what do we do next? Because I haven't joined it yet. So let's see what we do next. Okay, so between the picture and reading the text, it looks like we are only adding extra rows of shells here with the corners. Let's see. And from what I read in the text, we are only adding, it's only telling us to add the extra chain, the extra space next to the corners, right there and right there. So all the rest of it is going to remain the same. So we are already at a corner past a corner. So I'm going to chain 4 for a double crochet plus chain 1 and work 1 double in the next double, chain 1, work 1 double in the space, chain 1, work 1 double in the double, chain 1, and we work our fan or our shell. 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So we work that right over top of the last shell, right into that chain 2 space. So this is how it should look. Right from where we join, chain 1, work a double, chain 1, work a double into that second space there, or yeah, second space. Then chain 1, work a double, and if you have more spaces than I do here, then just keep making your spaces, and then you will go ahead and chain 1 and work your shell. Chain 1, work into that first double. Now we're going to work the rest of these as they appear to us. So again, I have confidence it's going to be different for everyone because everyone's chain stitch count is going to start off differently. So just following what's already there. Working the fillet. There's one more. Chain 1 and work the shell into the shell, or over the top of the shell, into that chain 2 space. 1, 2, and 3 more. Chain 1, and right there is my first double crochet. And I'm just going to work it exactly how it looks. There we go. Then chain 1, work my shell. 1, 2. I wish I could be more specific, but I suppose we could name this the bespoke shawl. It's going to be different for everyone. Okay, chain 1 right here, work my first double. Now, to match the other side, chain 1, and in this space, we work a double. Chain 1 into the double, we work a double. Chain 1 into the double. Chain 1, and we skip the 3 double crochet and into the chain 2 space. We work our corner, and this doesn't change either. It's 3 doubles, 3 chains, 3 doubles. One, 2, and 3, chain 1, and here skip these 3, and there's my first double. Okay, so here is a little bit different because I don't have much space here, so I'm just going to go ahead and work my extra stitch right here into my first space. Again, this is going to have to be different for you and everybody else who's making this. You can make it work though, it'll be fine. Now, there we go. It's still going to look beautiful. I need some slack on my yarn. It's a new ball, so it's a little bit firm coming out of the center pull. Okay, work my double. So I'm going to keep working this all the way around. But there I have my extra space there, and that's how it's going to work. I'll be right back. I'm just going to finish up this round now. I already worked my last corner here. Here was my starting chain, so I've already chained 1 and into the 3rd chain up. 1, there you are, 1, 2, and 3. Actually go into the chain, there we go. Now again, I'm going to work based off of the photo or the etching, drawing. So now it looks like we're going to go ahead and in the spaces that we created, we're going to add our new shell. So there is 3 chains for my double crochet plus 1 more for my chain 1, work a double into the next double over, now into the space, chain 1, and we work another new shell. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, pull this aside a little bit to expose that double crochet right there, chain 1, next double over, work a double, chain 1 and work a shell over the shell. So this will be the repeat all the way around. When you get to the other end here, just work your shell, chain 1, work a double, chain 1, work a double, chain 1, work your new shell, and on and on. Whenever I get to this portion here where my options are a lot slimmer, I'm going to work my shell, chain 1, work a double crochet, chain 1, and I'm going to put my new shell into the second portion over. Let's see, how does it look there? Yeah, I'm going to work into the second one over. So that's how I'm going to work mine all the way around. And this is the only time where we're going to have to add a new row of shells. So that's it. That's our only new additional row of shells to add. And then we're just going to keep going. So I will be right back. Just keep working this same stitch pattern. When you see a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet along the straighter edges, then just work it exactly as it looks. Nothing changes in this portion. The only place we add anything new is right here on either side, on both sides of our corners. After that, nothing will change. Everything will stay the same until we get down to here and we work these little medallions. I'll be right back for our next round. So I ended that last round with just my corner stitch, and then I slip stitched into the first double crochet. Now, basically for the next 3 rounds, we're going to work exactly what we just did. It essentially says that in each round. It just is a repeat. It just is describing word for word round 3. That's what every single one. And then it seems like they kind of get tired of writing it. So down here in the 7th round, it says the same as the last round. But yeah, we're just going to be repeating. Here's round 4 we just did. 5, 6, and 7. So the next 3 rounds are all identically the same. Okay, then when you're done with your 7th round, cut your yarn and come back, because then we're going to do the little medallion section. So I guess I could show you. So we'll start with our chain 4 and then work a double in the double, chain 1, and work a shell over the shell. And at this point, you're pretty much just going to be working a double over any double that you see. Bear in mind, this is a single independent double crochet right here. It's not part of the shell. But you're just going to work a double plus chain 1 wherever you see a double and a shell wherever you see a shell. And that's going to be about it for the next 3 rows. 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and 3. Always remember to chain 1 after everything we do. Then work a double into the double, chain 1, work a double, chain 1, work a shell. After you work your shell, you'll chain 1, work a double, chain 1, and just keep on going all the way. I will see you guys at round 7. Okay, finished working this all the way around. It's very ruffly and very cute. Here is how it would be worn, because it's a square shawl. You'd fold it into that triangle shape and then just wear it like that. How absolutely beautiful is that? Okay, let's do the medallions. So you're going to start in one of your corners in your chain 3 space, and even if you weren't changing colors, this is how you still have to do it. So reattach your yarn, either a new color or the same color, and chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yarn over, and in the second chain from the hook into that chain stitch, work 10 double crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, it's not so easy under the camera. 9, and 10. Now you have just a little bit of space left. Slip stitch into that and chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and right here between these 2 stitches into that chain 1 space, work a slip stitch and chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and repeat, working 10 double crochet into that second chain from the hook. I'll be right back. Okay, reposition myself so I can work a little easier. And then again, once you're done with your 10, slip stitch and chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come into the top of your shell and repeat. This is going to be the repeat all the way around. When you get back around to the beginning, I'll show you how we're going to end it. Okay? In the sections where I've got 3 spaces here to work, I'm going to work my medallion into the second space, then into the shell, into this middle space, second space, middle space, and then resume working into this space here. So that is how that will work out. There's those. Very cool looking, right? I have to confess, this is my way of doing it. The instructions were very, very confusing and unclear, and it was sort of a work harder, not smarter kind of a situation. So I'm like, I think I could come with my own way to do this. So this is actually my own way. Yay! Okay, I will meet back up with you when we get back around to the beginning. I just wanted to show you how I'm going to work it whenever this portion changes. I'm just simply going to work in the middle there. Okay, just coming around to the end, I've just chained my last chain 6, and I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the starting chain 3 space. That is, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and cut. Now I'm going to read you how they wanted us to do this last round that we just did. 1, where it says double crochet, I'm going to replace that with single crochet. 1 single crochet under the 2 chains of the previous round. 6 chains. Yarn over the hook. Insert the hook in the first chain from the needle and draw the wool through. Repeat from here 7 times as loosely as possible. Yarn over the needle and draw through all the stitches on the needle. Yarn over the needle and draw tightly through the 1 stitch on the needle to keep the bunch firm. 1 single crochet in the next chain stitch. 4 chains, 1 single crochet on the square, 6 chains, and proceed with making another bunch of stitches, and so on all around the shawl. So you can see why I decided to make an alternate. It's just a lot easier and it looks exactly the same. Well, not exactly, because obviously they used a different type of stitch, but it's the same basically, as you can see. Theirs is a drawing, ours is reality. Theirs is ideal, ours is reality. But let's look at the end result. Go with it folded over in the form of a shawl, or you could make this like a little throw blanket or a baby blanket, and there it is opened up, and it is very, very ruffly and cute. It almost has a Spanish look to it, which I love so much. I never made anything quite like this before. So you guys let me know, which of the patterns do you prefer, or is that unfair to even ask because they're both awesome? Or, oh, are you kidding? Roger totally got this one out of the park, which honestly, all answers are entirely valid in my opinion. So, because I like them both. I like them both. I enjoyed making this one just as much as I enjoyed making the other one. I like the way both of them look. I think they're both fantastic patterns, and mostly easy patterns as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. More of these to come. I've got a lot of special things coming up and some more mysteries. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.